Let's say this bill gets passed. What could happen to you if you expose fraud or go and look into immigration services? Well, you could receive a $4,000 fine underneath a civil fine, a $10,000 fine if it's criminal, and a $50,000 fine if it becomes a felony. You may also face potential imprisonment and your content be forced to be taken down. This is a complete violation of the First Amendment, as they are trying to take down and suppress your own speech, make it so you can't film in public, which is taking away your freedom of press. There's a whole lot of issues with this bill, and today we're going to be confronting those that co-authored, signed, and passed this bill.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, man. The government, when they make up rules to stop you from exposing their crimes, you know things are freaking bad. Real freaking bad. Nick Shirley exposes everything. Great freaking little... It's a little long. It's about 30 minutes, so I'm not going to talk too much here. But ultimately, if you want to destroy them, get out of their system. Get into crypto. Put crypto in your own personal wallet and you make more interest on your money. That's right. Way more than the bank will ever give you. The bank is fighting you right now so that you don't get that interest. They don't want you to have it. That's right. Guess what happens when you take money out of the bank? They stop making money. That's right. You hold money in your own personal wallet and you start being your own bank and making money. Get into crypto. Do your own research. Don't do it because I'm telling you to. Do it because you've learned what it is and you realized, holy shit, screw the banks. Screw the government.
What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
I think you're a psycho scam artist.
They don't want to end their fraud racket. A lot of the politicians, they benefit from the political organizations, and so they want this racket to continue. They don't want the truth to get out.
Stop fraud investigations, but you're the one who signed off and you're a co-author of it. Here in California, they are trying to pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act. The official title of this bill is AB 2624, and today we're going to be confronting the legislators that are trying to pass this bill. And if this bill were to get passed, instead of going after the fraudsters, they're trying to make it criminal to go after the people that are committing this fraud. For instance, it would become criminal to film and reveal info on taxpayer-funded immigration services like healthcare, which would include daycare, hospices. It also covers counseling services, translation services, and immigration legal services. So for instance, if the Quality Learning Center was inside of California, it would be illegal to expose them. It would make it illegal to film government-funded NGOs. And this bill essentially wants to shield the info of immigrant support services from the public. So your tax dollars, you'd have no idea where it's going because it would then become confidential and you would not be able to see how much money that NGO is getting if it's going towards immigrant services. And what makes this bill super interesting is the lady who created this bill, her name is Mia Bonta. Her husband is the Attorney General of California named Rob Bonta. You cannot make this up. So you have the Attorney General who's supposed to prosecute and go after the fraudsters, and then you have his wife who's trying to pass bills to go after the people exposing the fraud. Like, seriously, this is absolutely crazy. And the AG, Rob Bonta, just a few days ago said they were cracking down on the fraud way before certain people came into the state.
We've been doing it successfully before certain people in this country decided to think about it for the first time.
However, it was only after I exposed over $100 million in fraud they actually made any arrest here inside of California. Let's say this bill gets passed. What could happen to you if you expose fraud or go and look into immigration services? Well, you could receive a $4,000 fine underneath a civil fine, a $10,000 fine if it's criminal, and a $50,000 fine if it becomes a felony. You may also face potential imprisonment and your content be forced to be taken down. This is a complete violation of the First Amendment, as they are trying to take down and suppress your own speech, make it so you can't film in public, which is taking away your freedom of press. There's a whole lot of issues with this bill, and today we're going to be confronting those that co-authored, signed, and passed this bill. And so truly, every single day here in America, you are learning more and more about the fraud that is taking place. And if you want to become a member of the Anti-Fraud Club and help me as I go all about the country to expose this fraud, go join at antifraudclub.com. It is completely free, and hoodies are also available on the site. And really quick, let's go speak with an assemblyman who knows more about this bill before we go and confront them. Now let's get into the video. What's the truth about the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
So you've heard a lot of people trying to call you a liar. Why don't we just read the bill? I think that's what everybody just needs to know. So in this section of AB 2624, which we call the Stop Nick Shirley Act, it says a person, business, or association shall not publicly post or publicly display, disclose, or distribute on the internet or social media, the internet, the personal information or image of a designated immigration support service provider, employee, or volunteer if that individual or individual entity or organization authorized on the act of their behalf. And that's just some of the language.
And what does that mean? Immigration support services provider.
You're exact. See, and that is where the devil is in the details. Designated Immigration Support Services Facility means a facility where immigration support services are provided, including but not limited to nonprofit organization offices, Department of Justice recognized entities, community legal clinics, law offices, accredited representative sites that provide immigration legal services, and healthcare facilities. They threw that into designated immigration support service facilities, healthcare facilities.
And healthcare is at the very bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where a lot of the fraud's taking place, inside of Medi-Cal. For instance, the hospices, the daycares are with CalWorks, but they're with anything to have to do with immigrants. Essentially could not and is actually punishable.
You're 100% right. And that's where, again, the devil is in the details. Their definition of harassment is repeated, unreasonable, and unwelcome conduct. What is unwelcome conduct? Simply you asking questions today, can that be considered unwelcome? What do they mean by things that you could generally fear? So if they say the words, I was harassed by Nick Shirley, if you were out videotaping a hospice, you would fall under this because healthcare facilities is a designated immigration support service facility. That is part of the definition. It is written here that if you post this online and they give you a demand made under that paragraph shall be effective for 4 years where you could be punished. So what people really need to know is that the state of California is deciding to punish the journalists out there that are doing the work and exposing the fraud instead of punishing the fraudsters. And a government that diminishes transparency has something to hide.
And what are some more crazy things about this bill?
There's a section in this bill that says any records or documents pertaining to a program participant shall be held confidential. So there are workarounds in this bill that will hide information that if you wanted to find online the Quality Learning Center, all of these areas can be now moved around and shifted. They are making it harder to find the people's money when we should be making it easier. When we have already proven that in 3 cases alone in the state of California, $500 million in fraud. Thank you for that.
And so essentially an NGO or a daycare, anything that falls underneath immigration support providers, their information would then become confidential.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly right, is that they can hide it because they have changed the definitions. Designated Immigration Support Services Facility also includes healthcare facilities, also includes nonprofit organizations, and not only that, areas that the Department of Justice actually recognizes those entities. It's such a broad thing, so you can cover everything. And then when you look at those definitions, when I read you the bill, I am reading the physical bill. So when they call you a liar, how? How are you lying? How, when you have all of the information in front of you, and it's a front. When you sit down and you actually talk about it, you know it's a coordinated effort to steal from the people of California.
In that same day, an Assemblyman, Carl DeMaio, brought forth a motion to push for more transparency on this bill. However, it was then shut down by the Democrats inside of the Assembly to not give any more transparency. And as I was explaining this, one of the co-authors passed by, and it was now my time to confront these legislators who are pushing forth this bill. Here's one of the authors of the bill. How are you guys doing? We just want to ask you about the bill and why you guys would pass this bill that really is an attack on free speech.
I am not even sure what you're talking about.
Really?
You said an author. I don't think
Yes,
I'm an
did you
author.
pass out? Did you sign to pass this bill? The AB 26?
No, I don't
24?
know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
You do not.
No,
Are you
guys
serious?
are just talking about
We're talking about something random. Okay. Sasha, how are you doing? We just want to ask you about the bill AB 2624. Why would you sign off on that? It's a direct violation of the First Amendment, and it makes it harder for people to expose fraud here.
We have Ledge Council. They check the constitutionality of all our bills as we're writing them. I work on fraud issues. You'd know that if you look at some of the work I did on the budget subcommittee.
Amazing. So Mia Bonta, her husband's Attorney General of the Attorney General of California, and it was only until I exposed fraud that they actually cracked down on the fraud and made some arrests here, especially with the hospices. And do you know that if this bill were to pass, it'd make it illegal for someone to go after fraud, especially if it's based off of immigrants, for instance, Armenians in California?
No, I think that that's a misinterpretation of the bill, but I'm happy to talk with you more about it. And fraud and investigations into fraud are something that's been happening for a very long time. The Attorney General handles those cases. This is an ongoing issue.
It's a little weird that the wife of the Attorney General, Mia Bonta, is now pushing this bill that literally goes against the First Amendment.
No, I actually don't. I don't think that this bill violates the First Amendment. I mean,
Really?
that's the whole purpose. We have Ledge Council and Ledge attorneys that talk with us about this. Constitutionality is really important to the work.
So your bill criminalizes publication of images recorded in public. Do you believe the government has the right to punish journalists for filming in public space?
No, I think that is a complete misinterpretation of actually the piece of legislation.
That is not. That's literally what would happen. Speaker Rivas, how are you doing? What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624?
I don't know anything about it.
And do you think there's any conflict of interest there with Mia Bonta and her husband being the AG? That just shows you everything you need to know. These people won't even answer the questions. So you signed off, you're a co-author of the AB 2624 bill. What made you want to sign off on this bill that would literally make it so NGOs don't have to disclose their money?
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look at the materials from that committee hearing.
Okay, and what, for instance, just answer the question. Why does your bill apply to organizations receiving taxpayer money? Shouldn't publicly funded entities have more transparency, not less?
Restate the question?
Yeah, so entities that receive money from the government, shouldn't there be more transparency and not less?
I think we want to make sure that we are being accountable to public funds.
Yes, and so you signed off on a bill that would make that harder to have transparency.
Well, I don't think I see it that way. I think that we're making sure that, all of our systems are able to get the money out to community and that there's transparency and accountability incorporated.
But you're literally signed off on a bill that would make it for less transparency, sir.
That's debatable, and I don't
It's
agree.
not debatable. They're going for immigration-based services. They're trying to make it harder for money to be disclosed.
Thanks.
Look, they just run off.
Oh,
How are you doing?
I just want to say hi. So, great work. Very proud of what you're doing.
And how come you think that they're just signed off on a bill that would make it harder for organizations that receive taxpayer dollars to be?
I don't agree with it. I think you're on the right track. This is an attack. It should not be. It's not right. You're doing well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're a co-author of the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Oh, you know who I am. My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am. You signed off on the AB 2624 Act. Can you tell us about what you did on that?
I don't even know who you are.
Well, my name's Nick Shirley. But either way, can you tell me about this assembly bill you're trying to pass?
Shirley?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
But could you please just answer any question about the AB 2624 bill? A lot of people are worried about that it's going to stop fraud investigations, but you're the one who signed off and you're a co-author of it. These people are crazy. They can't even answer questions about the bills that they're co-authoring. Hello, Mr. Lowenthal. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing great. How do you feel about proposing a bill that would put $10,000 fines and potential jail time for publishing a video from a parking lot?
Wait, can you say that to me again?
Yeah, so AB 2624, if a journalist were to go and investigate fraud in an immigrant service company, essentially, from the government that receives taxpayer dollars, they could potentially risk receiving a $10,000 fine with this bill you guys are trying to pass.
Well, I need to read the bill.
But you signed off on the bill. You passed the bill.
What do you mean I passed the bill? I don't understand.
It's gone through It's gone through 2 times, and it's been passed.
What 2 times? Where are you referring to? Are you referring to committees?
Yes.
Which committees?
I can tell you right here if you give me a second. But
speaking of committee, I'm in the privacy committee right now, but
Yep.
I don't think that bill has passed before my committee.
he's a co-author of it. He's a co-author of that bill. What's your thoughts on this AB 2624 bill? Any response? Like, what would make you guys want to pass this?
Thank you.
Do you think it makes it harder for fraud to get discovered here in the United States? Why can't you guys just answer our questions? You guys are the ones who are signing off on these bills. So what do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624? You don't know much about it? Or?
I don't know if I know that.
Oh, well, can I tell you a little bit about it?
I'm okay.
So, you should know about it though, because it's kind of your job. So, the Stop Nick Shirley Act, what it does is it shields immigrant. Oh, all right, we can keep following you. The Stop Nick Shirley Act shields immigration nonprofit workers from public record disclosure. It criminalizes publishing images and videos of covered workers, even taken in public. Grants covered orgs power to demand video takedowns, imposes a $4,000 civil, $10,000 criminal, $50,000 felony fines per violation, applies to taxpayer-funded organizations. Would you support a bill that allows all that to take place? It is your job. Would you support a bill? Yes or no, ma'am?
Can you take
Thank
that
you,
out of
baby.
our
It was
face?
so good to meet you. I hope you have a great day.
Ma'am, you're literally working for us, but you won't even answer our own questions. Like, these people get paid by our tax dollars, yet they can't even answer anything. This is super important. People have a lot of questions about the AB 2624 Act,
So this bill,
aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Tell us about it.
well, there is no Stop Nick Shirley Act, but the author's not here today, but I hope you can find her.
But you're the co-author of this.
I'm a co-author of many, many bills that protect vulnerable communities in California.
Good, so you should know a lot about this bill. For instance, it
Hold on.
shields immigration.
Hold on one. Hey.
I hate to disrupt the phone call, but this is important. Wait, come on. Look at that. These guys really just don't want to answer any of the questions. These people won't even answer questions about the bills they're co-authoring.
Welcome to Sacramento. You know, I appreciate you exposing waste, fraud, and abuse. It is rampant in California, just like in Minnesota. And if it wasn't for independent journalists like you, that would not be happening in our state. And I applaud you for doing it. And welcome to Sacramento.
Well, these people are literally signing off on these bills, and they're acting like they don't have any idea what it is, when it really is a direct violation of the First Amendment.
Most of them don't read the bills, but they know what it is. The people that you talk to that co-authored the bill, they know what it is.
It's criminal. And then to think that they're getting paid from the taxpayers of California, yet they can't even answer any questions about these bills that they are co-authors of.
A lot of times when the media will approach them, they deflect often, and that's just the job that they do, and they'll continue to vote. And it's ironic, like I'm the author of SB 14. It's made it a strikeable offense to make sex trafficking of a minor a strike offense in the state of California. And Mia Bonta, we had to get the governor engaged to reverse her decision on the committee to not criminalize sex traffickers, but she wants to criminalize you. That's an ironic situation, huh?
That is very ironic. So, the AG's wife, the Attorney General's wife, Mia Bonta, she wanted to protect sex traffickers.
She wouldn't vote, and she did not pass a bill in committee a couple of years ago to make sex trafficking a minor child a serious strikeable offense. So if you get a strike and 3 strikes, your life in prison. She wouldn't vote for it. The governor engaged in that process. The next week they passed it out of committee, but she wouldn't criminalize sex traffickers, but she'll criminalize people like you.
That is insane. Mia Bonta, she sounds like quite the lady.
You should meet her one day.
She didn't show up to her own job today, Mia Bonta, didn't it?
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, is this Scott Wiener right here?
Yep, yes he is.
Yes.
Scott Wiener, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing great. Can you give us your opinion?
Welcome to the Capitol.
Thank you very much. Can you give us your opinion really quick on AB 2624?
I think you're a psycho scam artist, so
You think
have
I
a good
am?
time.
Please disclose how you think that. Look how they just run away. These guys are fools. It would suck to have the last name Wiener anyways. So right there, you have literal co-authors who will not give answers to the bill that they are a part of. Some even said they aren't even co-authors of the bill. And now let's see what the public has to say, and later we'll be speaking with the man, Carl DeMaio, who is in support of getting rid of the Stop Nick Shirley Act. And he'll explain just how dangerous this bill actually is. Do you think they should pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
Absolutely not. We need to stop letting politicians get away with fraud and do better for the people of California here in the state.
And what's your message to Mia Bonta?
She needs to stay in her lane, stop writing BS bills, and let journalists do their job and find out the truth and give the money back to Californians.
And do you think there's a conflict of interest when the Attorney General, his wife, is creating laws to make it harder for people to expose fraud?
Yeah, that is a conflict of interest. I mean, come on, dude.
And right now in Polymarket, there's a 46% chance that the Stop Nick Shirley Act becomes law by June 30th.
It might happen here because you got some weird fools over here. I mean, seriously.
That's the truth of it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely
Right
insane. 46% chance that the Stop Nick Shirley Act becomes law, according to Polymarket right now. Insane.
Yeah.
I see what they've been doing towards you, and it's completely strange. You're just a local news person, and you're an amazing journalist, and then somehow they're just like throwing these bites out and like saying that you're this and that. So that's a very weird situation. We're Jesus believers, and we've been praying for the state, and we've been praying for you. He actually, when we were praying, he has sensed that, this state has been drained in terms of wealth and in terms of abundance because of these people with the policies and the bills that they've been passing. And we believe this is a very important year for California to be saved, literally need to be saved and rescued from everything that had gone on for the last 4 to 5 years, ever since with all these agendas going in and everything. And but we need people to pray, and we need people to speak out, and we need reformers.
We do have an actual conflict of interest when the Attorney General is married to someone who's trying to author a bill to essentially attack our freedom of speech. I would consider this to be a textbook conflict of interest, and I would consider it to be extremely unethical. Every journalist across the country should be pissed right now, because an attack on Nick Shirley is essentially an attack on everybody. We need our freedom of speech. If we don't have our freedom of speech, what do we have? Next step, Second Amendment.
You're one of the few people who have opposed the Stop Nick Shirley Act. What made you oppose this bill?
Because I read the bill. I mean, it's as simple as that. You read the bill and you realize that it's against the First Amendment. It criminalizes citizen investigative journalists who take video and expose fraud. And that's what the bill's designed to do. It's designed to keep secrets, to keep the public from knowing what's going on. They don't want to end their fraud racket. A lot of the politicians, they benefit from the political organizations and various contractors and grantees that are getting money and getting it fraudulently. And so they want this racket to continue. They don't want the truth to get out. That's why they got the Stop Nick Shirley Act. I mean, when I looked at it, I said, clearly, if Nick Shirley had been in California and visited one of our Somali leering centers with no daycares and no kids or a fake hospice, if this bill were enacted, he would be literally hauled into court, injunctive relief, restraining orders, and a lot of money would be penalized to any investigative journalist. They're trying to bully up front, and if anyone has the audacity to videotape and post fraud, to bankrupt them. This is all about bullying and bankrupting citizen journalists. Can you imagine how outrageous it is to have an organization committing fraud, Somali leering centers with no kids or fake hospices? You show up and you capture the evidence of their misdoings. The operator, the fraudster, hands you a business card that just simply says, I hereby insist that you not post the video. That's all they have to do under the law. You then do the right thing. You post the video so the public knows what's going on with their money, and they haul you into court and fine you and penalize you for breaking the law. That's the way they're going to weaponize this bill against citizen journalists, and we can't allow it to happen. It's against the First Amendment. It will ultimately, if passed, get overturned in the Supreme Court, but in the meantime, it's a chilling of free speech, and it keeps secrets on all the fraud that's going on.
It's very concerning to know that right now you have politicians who are passing these bills knowing that it is violating the First Amendment.
Yeah. They don't care. And so I've been working the floor, handing them actual text. I said, did you just read the text? Because the author of the bill is lying. She says, oh no, it has nothing to do with the Nick Shirleys. It has nothing to do with citizen journalists. But when you read the text, it's plain English. It would make it a crime to post a video of evidence of fraud, and it would, result in very costly fines. So we want this language to be removed from the bill. Actually, I want the bill to be killed entirely, but at the very least, they need to take this provision out. The Stop Nick Shirley Act needs to be removed from the bill.
In this bill, it talks about immigrant services. It's very vague. That means healthcare, translation services, attorney services, daycares. It's very vague on what they're trying to say this bill is. And it's being backed by CHRLA.
The Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights LA, which is a taxpayer-funded organization that isn't really providing services. They're really organizing violent protests in LA. They're agitators, and they don't want people capturing their bad behavior on video. This is designed to protect them in the activities that they're doing.
And if this bill were to be passed, organizations like CHRLA, they would not even have to disclose the amount of money they're getting from taxpayers.
Correct. These organizations are if they have nothing to hide, why have this bill? And the way they define immigrant services is so broad that a fake hospice could say, well, one of our fake patients, one of our non-existent patients could have been an immigrant, so therefore we get protection under the bill as well. It is absolutely a bill designed to hide the fraud that's going on in the state of California, and the politicians clearly know that the investigative journalists are on the case, and they got to stop the investigative journalists before it's too late, before the public learns the truth.
And do you think there's a conflict of interest with Mia Bonta, husband being the AG, the Attorney General of the state? Meanwhile, he's trying to take credit for exposing the fraud. Meanwhile, she's trying to silence those that actually have exposed the fraud.
Look, when you showed up and visited the fake hospices in LA and Southern California, you showed he wasn't doing his job. This isn't hard to find. He literally was ignoring it. And so you embarrassed him. You embarrassed him by showing that he's not doing his job to protect taxpayer funds. He then calls a press conference last week and says, oh, look, I took out 21 fraudsters. I'm thinking, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And now we've dismantled the fraud rings in California. No, they're not dismantled. You have 21. When you indict 2,100 people, then maybe we're starting to turn the corner.
And he referred to me as certain people.
Certain people. You did his job. You did his job. The job that he should have been doing all along. You did his job. You embarrassed him. And now Mia Bonta, she doesn't want it to happen again, so she's trying to stop citizen journalists.